Hello everyone. Today let's do a comparison of the new syllabus and the old syllabus of CA Foundation Paper 2 Business Laws. Let's start. So talking about Paper 2 currently was Business Laws and BCR, that is Business Correspondence and Reporting, wherein your business laws comprised of 60 marks and BCR comprised of 40 marks. Now, talking about what is the change which has been brought in the new scheme, and that is this portion of 40 marks BCR has now been removed, which means now your paper 2 is business laws, and this is for 100 marks. So this is the basic change of what has happened. Business laws was previously 60 marks, and now the weightage of the subject is 100 marks in all. BCR portion, that is your English portion, has now been removed. Now let's have a look at what were the topics you were studying in the old scheme and how many changes have been brought in the topics. So under the old syllabus, you had these 5 topics, wherein Indian Contract Act 1872 was covered from section 1 to section 75. And then you had Sale of Goods Act, Indian Partnership Act, LLP Act, and the Companies Act, which was up to the doctrine of indoor management. You had the basics of Companies Act and the doctrine of company and the doctrine of indoor management. So these were the 5 acts which you studied in CA Foundation for business law, which was worth 60 marks earlier. Now talking about what is the change which has been brought in, what those 40 additional marks will comprise of, what are the additions which have been made to the subject. So let's have a look at it. So now the contents include one thing, which is the Indian regulatory framework, which was not previously the part of the subject, but has been included in the subject now, which is Indian regulatory framework, which will give you the basic insights on what is law, how is law made, and what are the different regulatory bodies such as the Ministry of Finance, Corporate Affairs, SEBI, etc. And apart from it, it will also give you a gist into the Indian judicial system. What is the Indian judicial system? And it will also explain here, you will also learn about what is civil law, criminal law, the basics. So here, the first topic now is the Indian regulatory framework, wherein the base for the subject will be formed. Basically, what is law and all the regulatory bodies, what are the different regulatory bodies is what we'll see here. Now, talking about the Indian Contract Act, so the basics currently in CA Foundation, we had 1 to 6 units in the Indian Contract Act. Section 75 up to quasi contract was covered in the syllabus. Now, what are the additions which have been made to the Indian Contract Act? Let's understand. So the general nature of contract consideration, other essential elements, performance, breach, contingent and quasi contract is something which is same as it is as you had earlier. Now talking about what are the additions which have been made to the Indian Contract Act. So contract of indemnity and guarantee, contract of bailment and pledge, contract of agency. Now all of these were part of other laws at CA inter level earlier. But now these have been brought into the foundation level. So now your Indian Contract Act will not end at contingent and quasi contracts, but rather it will have the contract of indemnity, guarantee, bailment, pledge, and also contract of agency. So these are the additions which have been made to the Indian Contract Act. Now, if I talk about the Sale of Goods Act, the Indian Partnership Act, LLP Act, and the Companies Act, all of these topics remain unchanged, as in whatever you had in the old syllabus is the same what you have in the new syllabus for all of these 4 topics. So Sale of Goods Act, wherein you had formation of contract of sale, conditions and warranties, transfer of ownership and delivery of goods, and rights of unpaid sellers. These topics remain same under the new syllabus as well. Under the Partnership Act, also the topics remain same: nature, rights and duties, reconstitution, registration and dissolution of firm. All of these topics were there earlier as well, and the same topic continue even now. And the same goes with LLP Act and the Companies Act as well. So the basics are only there in the Companies Act. There's no addition which has been made to the Companies Act. Now, talking about one more addition which has been made is the Negotiable Instruments Act 1881. So this was also earlier part of CA Inter at under other laws section. You had the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 at CA intermediate level. However, now this has been brought at the foundation level, and we'll study the Negotiable Instrument Act now at the foundation level. So if I talk about the additions which have been made to your syllabus of CA Foundation Paper 2 Business Laws, the addition is topic 1 is the Indian Regulatory Framework. The next is additions to the Indian Contract Act 1872, which consists of contract of indemnity, guarantee, bailment, pledge, and contract of agency. And the third addition is the Negotiable Instrument Act, which has been made. Now, let me just quickly walk you through the unit and the syllabus. So here's the foundation course, paper 2, business laws, new scheme of education and training. So the chapter 1 here is the Indian regulatory framework, again, wherein we are going to study what is law and about the major regulatory body and the Indian judicial system. Then we have the Indian Contract Act. Earlier, the Indian Contract Act ended here on Unit 6, which was contingent and quasi contracts. But now there are 3 more additions to it. Unit 7, contract of indemnity and guarantee. 8, bailment and pledge, and 9, contracts of agency. Chapter 3, Sale of Goods Act. Chapter 4, Indian Partnership Act. 5, Limited Liability Partnership Act, and 6, the Companies Act remain unchanged. There's no change in any of these topics, any of these 4 topics. There's no addition which has been made, neither there's any deletion. So there's no change in all of these 4 topics. And there's one more addition, and that is the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. So this was an overall comparison of what has changed under CA Foundation Paper 2 Business Laws. So one major change is that now you do not have 40 marks of BCR, and it is 100 marks of business laws. And there are a few additions which have been made. Some topics which were previously part of CA Inter have now been shifted to the CA Foundation level. So all in all, this is the change. This is a brief comparison of what is the change in the new syllabus of CA Foundation course. For any queries, you can always contact us on forums, and we would be happy to help. And we'll come up with the updated syllabus soon. We'll come up with updated classes very soon with the new syllabus.